languages.
Yeah. I know that you're very proud of that.
I'm gonna Google it now.
Okay, you really don't have to. Hey, look, we're back in Oregon. unKnights. If you don't know who unKnights are, that is ex-Trainhard. There was a statement released earlier. It was also read at the beginning of the stream by Milos. So if you want, you can go find that. It was on our official Twitter. But moral of the story, the roster is allowed to keep playing throughout, as it was a very sudden departure which left the players in the lurch. So Ubisoft have very supportingly let them keep playing for now, see if they can find representation. So if you're watching this at home, anybody with, who wants to get into esports and has loads of money to buy a roster, or maybe you already have an esports org, hey, let's see how this game goes.
Let's see how the game goes.
This is a very talented roster, up-and-coming roster.
It is. And they've managed to fight themselves through CL under Easy Dream back then, of course. They've gone under many different names, and now another one has been added to the list. It's unKnights. He's going to be taking on Cowana here on their defense. Starting it off on Oregon. And let's see how they're going to be able to take control of this matchup, or if Cowana is going to be able to finally strike back, because we kind of expected a bit more from them coming into Stage 2, I dare to say, and so far it has been quite disappointing.
I think, it's really tough, because when we started to see unKnights open up as a team, disaster struck. And, they pretty much found out, as far as I'm aware, around the time that we found out.
That everybody else found out.
Which isn't a lot. And to sort of be in that position mentally as a team, I can only imagine how challenging that is. Because this is their livelihood. This is their... It's not just their dream. It's not just their sort of dream career. It's their livelihood. And to then have to go and perform to your best ability in one of the toughest leagues in the world, it's not easy. And then prior to that, they've obviously made roster changes. They were on the up and up. They were able to still have some good fights on the second play day since the news, and now we've got a little bit of growth. And we've got a team against them, Cowana, which have been struggling, a team which came up via CL as well, a team that they have some of this direct competition with. And now they might be able to bring some solidity back to themselves.
Yeah, there's definitely the opportunity to bring some of that solidity back. At least they are, if you look at overall standings, around... Well, Cowana is starting to drop down a little bit, so they're also in need of these points. Let's see who's going to run away with them, though. First of all, we are getting started. Round number 1. Prep phase is over. Bottom floor hold, and we see the clash coming in. That is, of course, going to be supporting Elbow. Also has the opportunity of running around, going to the main stairs, going to freeze, or even if necessary. So that is basically, you can almost say, like... movable, deployable shield that zaps you and slows you down, that you can just put down wherever you need it.
Yeah, you got to place it. You've got Voy on that role, and Voy was obviously the man with the 100% cost on the other play day. He's such a sort of high-performing player recently, and he wasn't at the start, but he's the new addition to the roster. He's a player that, is going to take a bit of time to warm up. The big problem between these two teams that we're sort of seeing is they're driven entirely by the success of their entry, by the success of that sort of trade statistic. You're looking towards Sloth, who hasn't had the best start in that and has been so good, and then at the same time you're looking towards Blaz, who has been getting better and better. And that's going to be the sort of fight that I think marks it, because all in all, that back line of both teams, the sort of Chaoxis and Nura on one side versus Anarchic and Kendra on the other, they haven't had the best times this season so far.
They definitely haven't been. And as Cowana is quickly taking control of that top floor, they're opening up these hatches in some quick fashion. Of course, due to the pressure of Sloth, no Nitro Cell will be coming through the hatch. Sometimes that is a bit of a challenge teams want to throw. And as right now, they should be becoming aware that the push is coming from Freezer of the major part. Surely the Clash of Four is going to be rotating around to try and provide some extra cover, as the first smoke canister has already been tossed in.
Yeah, there's the pop to buy themselves a bit of time. You've got to look at that. They've kind of got through half of the total play time that they can do on this round. They're doing the big pickup. Grizzly is going to head towards those main laundry stairs. Kendra is making his way towards Electric Hatch and E-Box 2 to see if he can put the pressure in from there with the Maverick. They've got Sloth set up as a backline. The Clash is still high on tower stairs. He's sort of dancing between T1 and, this fight where he might be able to act as a ballast, and Kendry wants to try and dig his way through. No grenades to bounce around the back to see if he can put some pressure on the back line. It's all going to come down to the pressure that can be applied here. The first grenade and the second quickly finds its way through. They brought 6, and they've already used all of them, and only Blaz has really suffered, but he doesn't suffer long.
Goes up for a second time here, tries to get these kills as 2 members of Cowana have fallen in the meantime. Blaz will be traded upon, and as Nora is trying to take control of the freezer, it's only up to Gorgona now. Last man standing in a 1v3 situation needs to find these kills, and they're all on different angles, and there's also still a clash on the board, which will make the job even harder. His position is known. Make some punch holes. The Clash is just holding steadily, not trying to move too much. None of them are giving any ground to Gorgona. They know exactly where he is. They're just going to let the time run out, and as the diffuser has been recovered, the plant will be initiated. The Knights seem to be unaware. The Nitrocell will not get the kill, and Void will be trying to get the slow down. They managed to get it. Durza gets the kill with the shotgun. That is round number 1 for unKnights.
Well, there it is. There's an opener, and there's a pretty solid hold. As we saw, the utility that got thrown forward, there's my words, that got thrown forward was those 6 frag grenades. And sure, Blaz was injured, and sure they were able to force people into more uncomfortable situations, but not being able to capitalize upon them on a resource that was so big for the holds that were being put forward. When you're up against this Clash as well, which, you know, is a tragedy that you learn slightly later on in the round, it's unfortunate. It's a split that it seems like they're going to continue with here. Sledgemav and Iona still all on the board. They want to be hyper-aggressive, and I think they need to try and build a little bit more success from that. They had that weird mix of not enough time and too much time. I think they got a bit further forward with not enough bloodshed as much as they realized it.
Yeah. Definitely so, and the Clash was coming in at that very final moment as Nure managed to retake the freezer, managed to pick up 2 kills, I believe, in there, maybe even 3. And after that, you know it's 1v3. You know exactly where he is. You're just gonna hold your angles. You're not pushing. You just sit there and wait until the Clash tells you to go for that peek, and as soon as Void does, you collect the kill, you collect the round, and you move on. Because you are on Oregon and you are on defense, you need at least 4 to have a decent health. If you to pick up 5 or more than that, then you can consider yourself lucky. And this is a very interesting hold, you can say. The opening has been made inside a Master. Will provide a rotation possibility from games to the Cubby, to Master. It seems like maybe they will be playing there. Quickly checking, there is 1 reinforcement left, so they might be going to go for a bit of a late one, just like you would see on Elbow sometimes.
Well, Daz might be trying to find the fight here against Sloth. He's looking for a way in immediate. Might not know that somebody is just on the swing there. Drops the whole window, but Nora's not going to play that game as of yet. Opened up with a great 3K. Now they're well aware of the positioning of both of them. Spray through. There's Sloth getting 1. There's the spray towards the second. They held themselves a little bit further back, but have got that opening blood. Gorgona caught Chaoxis, who was trying to rotate around the back. That man was entirely surrounded. Durza goes down next, and Sloth just scampers out of danger. But they now know that there's only 1 above. They know that Voy is isolated around on the backside. He's got a long range to take. They now know where Blaz is as well. And Cowana have a lot of momentum here, which they're using to spiral and just throw themselves up white. Blaz gets 1 on trophy, pulls back, but if I'm going to say that the pace before was a little bit malaligned, this time it was pitch perfect.
Most definitely so. Blaz knows 1 is still on that window. Grenades are being tossed in, and thanks to this rotation, he's allowed to move quite freely. So now the plan's going down. Void below has in Nitro available, will not be tossing that in. Instead, will be going to go for a little bit of a retake. Managed to grab 1 and gets himself safely behind the bunk beds. Needs to find 3 kills now in the defuse. It is a tall ask for him to accomplish, and will not even get close. Gorgona gets that final kill, and it was a very quick, a very swift round here for Cowana, who managed to, well, shut down 3 of these roamers within, well, 40 seconds. And it's not really something you'd like to suffer as unKnights. Really like the setup they had into Master Bedroom, the rotation. You saw what it could offer when Blaz was making use of it. But of course not truly tested, as it was a 2-on-5 situation. Maybe there would have been more pressure onto that Master Bedroom, not allowing Blaz to freely run around. As a result, kitchen dining will be brought up. So we are continuing the rotation just as if unKnights would have won that round. And they're going to be bringing it up to the next point, hoping to take the win there.
Yeah, I guess it's always keep the game moving, is that mentality, sort of swing yourself around on all of these sites. But I think the thing about the Oregon third site is sometimes it can be a little bit of a big drop-off from the power and the strength that teams have on their first 2 picks, on Laundry and on Dawns. And, you know, it's fair to say that the unraveling there by Cowana was very quick. They sort of read where the bodies were. They got themselves into crossfire positions. As we saw, Gorgona was able to pick up Chaoxys pretty easily because he was already on the window at the bottom of the white stairs before Sloth drove his way through and before they had Grizzly that was also on the door as well. But, I mean, it's always down to them. If unKnights, you know, it's that question of, are they going to see if they can keep the rotation, keep the sites hot, or are they thinking, okay, well, the changes we might need to make there, we probably need a little bit more confidence to throw them into the wind?
Definitely so. Looks like we are going to see a bit of a setup in the small tower. Blast probably the one that stays there, a bit of a power position. I know a lot of people called Nure Shaiko 2.0. A lot of people also said Blaz might be their next prodigy, that gunner. They could be coming up from Challenger League and make his way all the way through, and he's being put in one of these power positions now at the top of the small tower, trying to waste as much time as possible, and probably will die doing so, but might be able to get away with 1 or 2 kills. As it's Sloth that is trying to insert himself all the way from the other side, from Master Bedroom, hoping to go into games and into trophy.
Now, this is obviously one of those few remaining Ashe mains that's trying to drive their way. It was the statistics we quoted at the very beginning in how that operator has dropped off, and there's only really a handful of people that still play it, and both the big ones are unK, which is Sloth and Doki. Kendry, in the meantime, they're trying to steady their way across. They have Chaoxys playing around that sort of core bunks on the other side, and inside Kids, there's one hopped up, but the hatch is soft, so they can hit their rotation if they can find it. In the meantime, Chaoxys finds Grizzly. The pop and the bounce of the grenade round the back, a little bit too early, but expects him to be holding above the bunks, which is a common sort of angle to get yourself buried behind.
Yeah, I was cooked a bit too much there. Wasn't able to get it quite deep in that corner, and now they need to go for the peaks. There's also a man hiding on the top of the white stairs. It's Foy trying to go for a bit of cover. Spots out the player right there. Will be digging himself in deep, trying to not go for many of these kills as an Arctic. Will be able to pick up one of these kills. We're back in 4-4, and Foy decides to fall back.
Yeah, 9mm is a very dangerous gun with a 1.5 in that situation, but also you've still got the kick of that secondary to open up any holes underneath if you need to. You can cause big problems for the team that's going for their approach and their steady chance, and you know, it's still just the vertical of the site itself. Cowana, even if they get this, sure, they've done a lot of the work, but that doesn't mean all the work is done. You have 3 other players playing underneath. You have Durza on this close angle, which drops 1 drone, and Kendrew reveals it on the second. They're going to see if they can swing around here as Durza gets aggro, tries to take the fight back across, and well, as the spray comes out, that allows Kendra and Sloth to start moving above. Voy is looking for them though.
He's now going to have some extra angles open up on him with the breaching charges that Sloth, of course, brings. Still has both the breaching rounds on the Ashe launcher as Gorgona picks up yet another kill. So the openings are starting to emerge. The push is coming in from the kitchen corridor as well. Goes for the kill, but Foy will fall. That is now a 2-minute advantage here for Cowana with only 15 seconds on the clock.
Well, they have all the cameras and all the ideas on where it's going down. Kenny's going to try and stick the plant on the far side of the kitchen as Gorgona has the crossfire down the corridor itself. Chaoxys with a deep smoke and a great kill. Gets the pick up on the next, but now it's a 3 versus 1 post-plant situation. And look at the bodies of Cowana. They all peeled away, including one to the top floor, but they didn't quite need it as they find their second in a row.
As soon as that 45-second clock was starting to tick down, you saw them all spread out into different parts of the map. Everybody holds a different angle, a different entry point towards that side, whilst, of course, the verticality would be watched by the player quickly trying to move himself back towards the attic to head into the kid's bedroom. Either way, there's Cowana that is currently leading 2-1. unKnights stay started off with a good defensive round, using that clash to their advantage on the bottom floor, and while they will be returning to the bottom floor, as I am speaking, Durza is thinking about swapping. Stick to the smoke, however. It will not be a clash this time. It will be a mirror that will make its appearance together with the smoke and an ally that Nura is bringing. Wondering if that is going to be a Titan Killer Ela, or if that's going to be the normal Scorpion. I dare to say the Titan Killer, because nowadays we do not really see Ela with Scorpion anymore. It's basically 9 out of 10 times the FO12 that is being brought.
How long do we keep calling it the Titan Killer?
I don't know. Until Demo
I was like,
decides that's been enough.
How do I phrase this? Because Demo will hear this at some point. Demo
yes, he will.
And, you know, to be fair, he called it the Titan Killer when nobody really sung too much about its praises. Then it got used a lot. Then it got nerfed.
But it's still being used.
I like demoisms.
It is the FO12.
It is the FO12. Heck of a kick. Yeah, demoisms. And this is one of them, the Titan Killer. As Demo said, it has all the Infinity Stones locked in it. Man loves superheroes, and Sloth loves getting in quick and early, trying to take them a bit by surprise. And this is one of the things we said before on their push on the other side. I think they got further than they thought they would, but without any of the bloodshed they'd hoped they'd get.
Bit of missed potential there, I feel. They opened up the door and the barbed wire quite early on. Foy was playing on the corner, no shield to cover him off. If they would have been able to take that gunfight and win it, or put it in their advantage, that could have been Elbow in control pretty quickly, without the mirror window being on Elbow in that case. And it would be very dangerous to actually place it down if you've lost control. So, could have been a bit of an opportunity for Cowana. Unfortunately, they weren't able to take it, and now we'll have to deal with the fact that the mirror window will be placed inside of Elbow. Of course, next set of preparations will start. Next sets of barbed wire will be destroyed to allow Sloth free movement throughout the back stairs. Hoping to find a player that is inside of the B-bomb side or playing around Pillar, of course, to create an opening, to create a gap that Cowana might be able to use once they're executed, once their final push begins. As Grizzly gets that grenade kill, that is going to be Foy off the board. That is the mute. That was the player that was inside of Elbow earlier on. Not quite sure where he was right now.
It's actually strange to see them, you know, Cowana have entirely sort of shifted from what I said before, where they had 6 frag grenades and no successes. Here, they've only got 2, and they found a lot more success to try and drive themselves through here. It leaves a slight bit of a second as the smoke canister pops off. They have this crossfire, they have the rotation around Elbow, but they've got to keep it under tight lock, and Kias does. He's going to actually try and cover his movement here and get it reinforced. There's the drone that will give that game away, but the smoke canister that was played just around Elbow meant they couldn't quite get the swing on. A minute, and they know roughly where all of the fight is, and they've lost that swing, that chance, and that opportunity round from the side. They're going to hand the diffuser around and offer a bit of a rotation here. That mirror window is very dangerous on Elbow, though.
And that will be opened up by either the X-Kairos or by the Exothermic that is left on Kendru's side. It is placed, but there's a mute jammer on it, so they need to get something in there to try and get rid of it, which they do not have at this point. So they need to go for these kills. They need to start flushing in. The shield that Kioxis is behind is in a key position as he downs the Thermite and brings it back to 2 and 3.
That was a very clever smoke canister there. Forced them to make a decision, and they weren't ready for it, so they get the swing round. Kioxis puts one down and gets one more. A great double take, but they've dug themselves through. Durza with the rotation, and what a fantastic play between the 2 remaining French players on this back line. And there's a great take from Grizzly. One more, but it's ring around the roses, and with only a second left, he can't quite find it. What a win out there.
Very well played. It was a 2 and 4 situation there. The fact that they managed to lock off the wall was quite key, because as a result, there was no way that they would be able to get through. 2 players were convinced they might have still been able to make it, but the mute jammer, of course, in place, making sure that the Excaliburs would not pop open the mirror window, would not make it uncomfortable for the defenders playing there, and they had the shields in the positions where they needed them to be to pick up some very, very important kills. And as a result, for the second time, it is unKnights that win that bottom floor, but now the true quest begins. Find rounds elsewhere.
Kids Dorms, the site that they lost before, and well, they opted to not try and do a return here, and I guess they proved the first point right, the first idea of maybe they're just going for the rotation of the site to keep themselves guessing. I'm curious to see if any changes are put forward, if they think that they might be able to be a little bit, I guess, quicker in terms of their setup. Maybe they didn't intend to be so caught out and were trying to, I guess, plug holes and cover retreats, and that just made them get more caught out. And Cowana, they punished them quickly and then built behind it, but as they've just proven, those backline holds can be very successful from unKnights, and they've got to start trying to pull some of these rounds. Same setup, same play.
Yeah, so we saw Blaz have a lot of freedom moving around inside Master, inside games, and in the cabinet next to it. A walk-in closet. So let's see if he's going to be allowed to play with that same freedom, but this time, of course, with unKnights not losing 3 of their players within the first 40 seconds, because that will be a big help. Don't want to really give away the advantage too early on, and instead, this time, last time they were, of course, very, very heavy towards the dining side. This time it is around the big tower, trying to make sure they can contest that, as it seems like Cowana is looking to put up some pressure onto the attic.
Yeah, they're trying to focus a lot of attention here, but Durza has a great angle. And if this goes unchecked, that could be an absolute nightmare opening here. There's a bit of a dance. There's a spray on a leg, and that is the call. I think if Durza had waited, he might have been able to actually punish one of them from there. Yeah. He took a gamble and a risk that he could potentially get an early, and that was more than enough of Cowana to be like, oh, okay, we pull back.
Yeah, definitely so. Of course, the drone would have spotted out the big holes as well. That there's been an impact here. They're going to intend on trying to hold this for as long as possible. But in the meantime, we see Cowana go for a full rotate as well. They're not even trying to take tower control anymore, even though it has been forfeited. No, kitchen dining will be the main point of contention now, as the barbed wire onto the white stairs already has been taken care of. So you can slowly start to see the push develop. You can slowly start to see the execute take form, as it will probably resolve around a jump in from the big window and some more, like 1 or 2 moving up from on the white stairs. Of course, Gogona still hunting for these roamers, hoping to pick up 1 or 2, whilst maybe putting up some vertical pressure from below with any of these 2 impacts. Oh, very smart.
Yeah, they're looking for the angle underneath the hatch. They can't quite get it, but that gives them some of this pressure that they can apply underneath, right to the back line there. Picking off all the frost traps and other related accoutrements, and otherwise, unfortunately, it's just unKnights for them trying to find some sense of stabilities. They still have what is a very good angle as Sloth's able to creep his way to the top of white stairs, lies down and holds the angle here locked off. They've cleared a big selection of space, and they're just sort of trying to long arm throws. It was a very important kill there, because now unKnights can try and retake dorms, but in the meantime, unKnights has just sort of snuck in on the corner, gonna stick it, and there's the cover from Grizzly. It's all coming up for Grizzly. The trades in a triple is everything, and we find ourselves, though, they're stopping the plant. A very big moment, a 2 versus 1, and Grizzly, he opened with a triple, but he's got to end with an ace if he has any hope of clutching this out. Gives a bit of the game away, but still takes it. No, it was a 4K. Somebody else found one in and amongst the mixture, but there is an attempt now. It's still aggressive. 20 seconds. They're looking for it. Grizzly!
I was going to say, what a play from Kioxa's, just swinging by, opening up the space again that they've lost, because the full of bunks, the full of kids, all of it was out of control for the side of unKnights, and they managed to take it back. However, it is going to be the big clutch to come in at the end there, the 1v2. With that, Cowana pick up yet another round. And unKnights continue their rotation. Kitchen dining will be brought up. That's the one we saw before as well. Was that kitchen meeting we saw? I'm now confused which one we saw, because we also casted the other Oregon game.
We did. We
did both
Oregons today.
Yes, and that one did actually see kitchen meeting. But I think this is the second time.
Dining. Yeah. Because, yeah. I'm trying to remember the hold they did.
Same. Yes, it was, because we had a small tower hold from Blaz, which he tried to play in.
And they sort of ignored it, and then just
ignored it and
big
went
tower. Yeah, I remember. Everything's coming flooding back.
Everything is coming back slowly and steadily.
Okay, 3 rounds on their attacks so far. Cowana, and this was a site that they were able to take before. If unKnights want to bring any sort of mantle of pace and success over to the other side, they've got to try to dig deep. That kill is a very important one. Caught a little bit on the sprint and just swung around to it in time, and then this with only a sliver of health. Did you see how low his health went at the end of there?
I did see, but this is why I play aim labs.
This is why?
To train those flicks.
We got those trainers on there.
You gotta train those flicks. And
did aim lab do trainers?
Trainers, as in like the shoes?
Yeah.
Or, maybe.
Yeah,
hey,
aim lab. If you're
aim
listening, I've just given you such a good idea, and you can have it. But I get, and Hap gets a pair of the trainers.
Yeah, we get a pair of trainers.
Yeah. See, I'm making links for us. Okay, 3-2. unKnights, you got to try and find your third here. And the Clash is back on the board in the hands of Voy. And I'm hoping to see a little bit more of a receptive defense to the offense of Cowana. I want to see a little bit more action a lot earlier on, because unKnights sort of, they'll set themselves up in these faraway positions. It's like a two-body roam, and then the three players will stick to their guns and say, well, we're going to sort of lock in here.
Yeah.
And when they're reactive, they're at their best, even if they're under intense pressure, like that 2 versus 1 clutch, or like the retake there that almost brought them to success and stopped the plant. That was them having to be reactive. And you want to see more of it, because when they are fluid, when they're mobile, when they're moving, unKnights can be such a good team.
Something in me tells me that they really want to go for a take unsuited dining. I'm not sure. It might have been...
So like you have a feeling.
I have a feeling that they want to have a big line of sight they can use to cover off anybody, anywhere. I don't know why, but it's there. It's just, you know, stomach feeling. Either way, it is the main point of that attack, but you need a bit of backup. And that backup will be unK, who tries to take control of Bones and tries to take control of Kids, and as he quickly hops over after the drone checked if someone was playing underneath, he got the safe call, but now knows one will be inside of Kids, and the red pings are coming out. He quickly checks for the white stairs if there was any pressure, and Blaz is like, well, thank you kindly, sir. That means that a lot of the pressure has just been alleviated from us. Now Cowana might be forced into a bit of a forced plant and execute.
Look at that, though. The Clash is toying with the idea of pushing further up showers. They're trying to cause as many problems as possible. Grizzly, in the meantime, is bouncing grenades.
Beautiful.
And drops Daza. That is the back line. That is now somebody solely on cams. There's a second body there. This time, they Slippy actually, I think, threw that one to the shower side. Now they're going to try and put the pressure on, but Blaz has the positioning, and unK has the pickup and the trade, and Clash, I think, is still trying to cause problems for them on the side there. They're opening up everything that they can. No, she's pulled back to the back of showers, and she's trying to rebuild, but in the meantime, it's sort of turned into a bit of a flat push here from Cowana.
It definitely has been. They lost their pressure upstairs, which was meant to play and clear the player that was playing on that hatch. In the meantime, an unK is going to go for that plant. Where is the Clash? Voy needs to spot this and give away the information, but it's not there, and that means 45 seconds counting down. Voy managed to pick up one before he dined himself, and now Gorgona and Grizzly are the two left. But look at all that vertical control they just created with that sledge. That is going to be coming in so big right now, because there's no way they can go for a defuse without it even being seen by Grizzly.
That's the huge worry as well, because I'm not sure what situation led to Voy having to just take the gun and go for the fight rather than be the shield. They were low health, but they took a risk. And there's one, and it doesn't quite work out. Gorgona has the lockdown. They have Grizzly above. Cowana have a 4-2 split on their half, and they really are starting to carry into this game.
As an attacking team, 2 rounds is what you're aiming for. Anything above that would be considered profit. Now, I'm no mathematician, but this looks like a lot of profit. That's 2 extra rounds. You have that unKnight stone, and now you're going over to the defense yourself. And of course, there's 2 sides to a game of Siege, and we're entering the second half right now. Even that saying is not really true anymore, considering overtime is now a thing in the UL. So we might need to change our.
We need some new phrases.
We need to rephrase our phrase.
We need Tim to get us some new phrases. Everyone, I hope you've all wished Tim a happy birthday. It's Ace
I think he did as well.
It's Ace of Pirate's birthday today.
He got a nice cake for his 53rd.
We brought him a cake early on. We said it was his 53rd. I think it's the other way around.
Yeah.
I think maybe we put the candles on the wrong way.
I think, no, it's 53.
Okay.
For sure, yes.
Okay. Yeah, everybody wish birthday Tim. Birthday Tim, happy birthday.
Not Big Tim, birthday Tim this time.
No Big Tim, birthday Tim.
Yes, exactly.
4-2 Cowana, and now you got to see if you can solidify it. You're a team that when you build momentum, you're very good at doing it. But so far, it was more that the only side unKnights were able to keep a hand on was Laundry. And to be fair, one of those was a 4 versus 2 clutch, which played out to their favor. And it was very, very well put together. So here, you would assume Cowana, they have that momentum. Gorgona on a 10-3. Is showing up. Grizzly as well. I know I said it at the very beginning that often the metric between these 2 teams is how well those pair of fraggers are performing. And in the case of Cowana, Sloth isn't quite there, hasn't really been this split, but Grizzly and Gorgona have been so good on their day, and this is one of their days.
Definitely has been working out quite well, and the Knights deciding to bring it to Monty straight away. This is sometimes what is considered a crutch operator. Now let's see how it will work out for them, because Voy was also playing onto the Clash. And I'm wondering why, as he was the big performer, of course, of last week. 100% cost was impactful every single round. And suddenly... Okay, I was going to say, is that a replica? Yes, it is. It was a Gemini replica. I was like, why is the kill not happening? But both seem to be aware. Oh.
Well, they weren't aware of that. Chaoxis had that man cornered. Sloth gets dropped on the pick back around, and that was very well played there from unKnights. They had all of the space they needed to. They had themselves in the positions, and the Void, that terrifying shield that just kept pushing, was such a big problem for them. Now, you're still looking at a smoke on the board, which often is in this position. I'm curious to see if unKnights stays where he needs to go, or they put him in a situation you assume that shield is going to push E-box and try and get control there, or push down elbow. So the smoke's still in a good place. But unKnights has become maybe the most valuable person on the board right now to try and stop Void.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe the one mistake that unKnights is making now is that there's no pressure coming in from the side of barrels. This allows unKnights to freely play inside of elbow, gives him an opportunity to, of course, get a flank down onto the Monty if he would be to push down the main stairs. But in the meantime, the push is coming down from many different directions. The hatch into laundry has been opened up. There is pressure coming down from the freezer stairs. Chaoxis, in the meantime, is trying to open up the E-box, whilst Void is just drawing away all their intention from the back stairs. Now, unKnights have many different opportunities, many different possibilities, but they're definitely seeming very self-operated or focused. And Blaz, of course, at the freezer stairs. We have a couple of them near the laundry hatch. So that should be where the push is coming from. Or they rotate.
Now they've got a minute. They can set themselves up with the rotate if they need to drive behind that shield. They know they have the body advantage, and they want to make sure they work with that. Grenades are heading out towards the default plant spot, but they haven't quite caught anybody. They still have, obviously, a lot of smokes in pocket, and that's going to be the big play that they're going to try and drive around, and that's why I'm saying it's so valuable what we see at this point. As you said, the pressure is coming around onto the barrel's side, and I think we've just heard one of the first canisters pop off there. 2 smokes left, but 20 seconds. So unKnights does one more, isolates that Monty, one more, and there's the pop-out, but there's the cover. Gorgona kills 3. One of them was unKnights trying to find their way out, and Kendra at least has a bit of a blood on the other side. Blaz, he's slightly injured, and they're still trying to formulate their way through. Has crept close onto elbow, but with only 5 seconds, you got to creep a lot closer than that. They've split themselves up. It's 2 stories, but the last body is on the 2nd story above.
Diffuser's
watching
down.
The diffuser. 1 second, they can't find Grizzly. Oh, hey, I'm here.
So I said, like, the one mistake they might be making is not pushing from barrels. Well, they did that in the end, of course, but maybe a little bit too late because you wanted to bait out these smoke canisters early on. You said it, how important it will be for him to play in there. Managed to force Void into the sprinting animation. It allowed his teammate to, well, as you said, pick up 3, including his teammate himself. But with that, Cowana managed to win another round. And yet again, the Monty will be brought. Of course, there's the opportunity for a 6-pick, as we might see happen right now. See the clash coming out. That is a good counter to Monty, believe it or not, because it is going to slow you down. It is going to do 5 damage a time, and both of them will not move. However, the Monty will slowly die. And newly, the electrification effect staggers the shield as well. So it might create a small gap for someone to shoot the feet of the Monty.
Until I saw the kill feed when I was doing the play-by-play there, I was curious how unKnights died.
Well, like, the Monty's sprinting, how did he die?
Yeah, he just sort of turned and died, and then I was like, oh, it was Gorgona just spraying through. But to be fair, it was at the...
It's a sacrifice they had to make.
Yeah, it was, you know, you got to
2 kills and a teammate.
Exactly.
I mean, it's still 2 for 1 trade. I'd do it.
Still includes the getting the Monty as well.
That as well, which is key.
Yeah, if that Monty had been able to take up the mantle there, if that Monty had pushed deeper, it was the right move there, and in a way, you know, they sort of sprinted and stressed themselves to get to that situation. They didn't know that there was still some cover there. It was quick reactions from Gorgona to get into that position, and unKnights was entirely under pressure, and likely it could have gone a very different way. So you get the round win at all costs. And now it's sort of the situation of, okay, well, how do we structure it? And are we going to see Gorgona get in a position? Because you're looking at that clash, you're thinking that's a great decision, but you're also looking at currently one of the top fraggers in the whole game.
Yeah.
Now in that clash role.
True. But you're going to be shutting down Void. But, oh, they're going to go for a very quick push right here. Durza is right in. They're going to be trying to get these kills down and potentially go for the plant, because the plant was on the big window as well. Durza just not spotting out the player, though. Nitros and Impacts are trying to be tossed out here. Nure stops with the plant as the pressure is coming down. Durza misses the shot. I'm not quite sure what's happening here, as a lot of damage is being done on either side.
Well, the diffuser didn't quite go down, and suddenly it's all blue in the kill feed. They couldn't quite get the plant on the opposite side, and Void isolated inside Trophy. Suddenly, Blast is going to go for a big rotate. They took a risk. But you look at Kendrew's health, you look at unK's health, and that's the sign that the risk almost paid off. It was a sudden swing back, and both impacts were utilized in the sort of a fray. They're back way round.
One in his own face, and the other one landed actually in the opponent. But
yeah,
you know,
so those things happen, and they got them. And now it's this situation where it's okay. We don't have the diffuser, which is probably the biggest blow in this situation, because how do we get anywhere near it comfortably and safely? It is entirely in this no man's land. And sure, we started this with a minute 50, but now we've only got about a minute 20.
Yeah, and it's a 2-on-5 situation. And now you would have really liked to have the clash on the attack, where you could have actually zapped these Kendrew and unK to death, because then you'd have suddenly been in a 2-on-3 situation, which would have been a lot more doable. But now you're coming up against the actual clash here that is on top of the white stairs. Knows there's a Zofia. Void is ready to go for the pre-fire with the pistol. Will not be able to hit it, however, as he's slowly being zapped to death himself, and Blast is deciding to go for a full rotate himself, needing to go up from the armory stairs. But the question is, how much can he find here?
You're in a 5 versus 2 and one of you's Monty. Maybe the worst thing.
Okay.
Okay, I was going to say maybe the worst thing to see is the clash, but apparently not if you're Blaz now, though. You've got to see if you can dig your way through. 40 seconds. That's still a lot of time, and unfortunately you're going to have to wait a little bit more of it. Void wants to creep up here, but doesn't want to get isolated.
Oh, no.
Doesn't even matter. Sloth's dug in on the close corners inside the games room. He's waiting, and they have that bulletproof camera as well, which is watching. Gorgona has been sent to the afterlife, and that job is watch Trophy door. Let us know if he swings, let us know what side, and then we have bodies either side. Grizzly still on the tear he was on before, puts one more on the tally, and Cowana put themselves onto map point.
Not just one, but a complete 4. Not lost a single round of the defense themselves yet, and that means that they have the good opportunity here of taking down 3 points. Now, unKnights try to go for a bit of a quick push. They had 2 men down on the big window. The Yana took the damage. Rather than doing it with the Gemini, did it herself. Due to the fact, of course, you want to keep that pressure in, and that is something that almost paid off. As you said, unfortunately missed the shots onto Durza, who was playing close. Unfortunately missed the shots onto the smoke. But if both those kills would have gone that way, which was a very big opportunity, it could have gone that way, just a little bit closer, it would have been suddenly a 3-on-5 situation for unKnights with a post plant. And that would have been hard to come back from.
And they're a team that does those surprise plays. They're a team that we've seen run Amaru on this very sort of map, on that very sort of site. They're a team that can do those big pocket plays. Saying whether people get unlucky in plays or saying whether people get this sort of, you know, you flip a coin and it lands on the wrong side, it happens. And that was one of those engagements because, you know, it's only when we go back can we really sort of break down how they're able to get the shots on the diffuser planter, because it was happening behind the bunks and they had the cover. You assume at that point, because he was forced back because of the pressure coming from around Trophy and that sort of area in games, that someone was able to swing from kids. But that's all assumption until we can really look at that play and see just where things started to fall apart for unKnights, because you still at the same time assume that they had some cover on the window. So maybe that was the first kill. It's a mess, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Cowana had a little bit more solidity in the mess, which led them to 2 almost deaths. But 2 almost deaths is so much more valuable than the other side of that coin.
Definitely so, and I believe what happened was we had 2 players on the big window, which was the not the Monty, the Thermite and the Yana. Then we had 1 pushing up from the white stairs and 2 from the games, which was the Monty and Blaz in the end. So white stairs got shut down pretty quickly, the planter got shut down pretty quickly, and then Durza tried to recover what was recoverable but got shut down himself as well. And those near deaths don't really buy you anything in that case. Yes, they're easy to take down, but they also just need 1 headshot on you to take you down. And well, Cowana, with that, put themselves onto match point. Not 1, but 4. And now, there's going to be a mirror on the board. And if you're looking over at the setup that unKnights have, you see no Hibana, for example, no Twitch, and that means it might be a bit difficult to deal with these mirror windows. Of course, due to the Monty, you might be allowed to sneak up. As Kyoxis takes the first entry engagement here. Taking a bit of damage, but won't die. You might have the opportunity of sneaking up with the Monty and smash those windows, make them shattered so they cannot look through them anymore.
You know, ever since that was added, never seen it.
Never seen it myself either, but this might be a round where we do see it.
Okay, let's see, though, because they have the chance to drive up. Kyoxis suffering on that opener, on that early engagement is, you know, it's a bit of a step down because we saw them punish Cowana before in that exact situation where they entered a bit loose on the side of the map. There's the Monty that drives in, gives the game away. There's an Echo drone that drives the Monty back out, and a smoke canister. No. Not yet. A second smoke canister seems a little bit thirsty for a bit of danger there, but I guess they just want to slow it down.
Sneak into that top floor. They just droned it, I believe, and now the question is, do they still know? It's clear because in all the mess, Kendrew, the smoke himself, has managed to sneak himself into the top of the small tower. So they might just go for a jump in here. Blast is watching. They might be aware. I'm not quite sure. No, he's not even watching. Kills both the Frostmats, though. Kendrew sneaks in, gets the kill. They were not aware. There's another Frostmat there. There's going to be a smoke canister tossed in. That's the last and final one. As the Echo drones are trying to go for the stun. There's a second kill. Beautiful. Recall took control on that one, but it doesn't matter. Nure goes down. And it's Kendrew now that is trying to challenge the Monty, knowing fully well that they did not know he was here. There is a window that can challenge him, but no one is on that one.
Kendrew with confidence is a terrifying force. And that is a man that has confidence and is refusing to let anybody in any level of this tower, including a Monty. And unKnights have just sort of been buffered back and refused entry. There's still the Echo drones, which have the eye in the sky. They're still trying to make their way in steadily from here, and unK has time to drive around, give the game away that there's one on the split side. In the meantime, Kenny drops Durza. Now it's just that Monty on this side. Yet again, it's a Monty, and it's one bit of support, but you still have, yet again, all of... Oh, he gets left! The quad kill, he's saying leave the ace, but Sloth steals it. And that is a relieved Cowana, and that is...
It definitely is.
A well-earned Oregon.
What a last round that was as well. Just the plays were all coming down. The Monty, of course, trying to shield his teammates, but Kenny able to take them down one by one and getting the knife kill in the end right there. Cowana with a very, very convincing win here over unKnights, who, well, started off strong on the bottom floor, which they won twice, but struggled to find anything anywhere else.
Yeah, one site, unfortunately, does not a map make. And that is the lesson that unKnights have learnt.